Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. So, we have this nice little level and it's looking good, right? And one thing you need to notice is that if I go in closer, the mountains obviously render and they render in real time. This is saving some computing effort. I'll teach you guys how to turn this off later when we make our actual game so that, when you're playing your game it doesn't look weird and things don't appear out of nowhere. Uh, Unreal is doing this to save computing resources, but we'll figure this out sometime a little later when we're building our game. But this episode, I want to teach you the two types of fog. So if I just go to the modes panel and I look for fog, there are two types of fog. One is an atmospheric fog and the other one is an exponential height fog. So I'm just going to show you what both of them do. I click on the atmospheric fog, select that, and I'm just gonna change the color a little bit to maybe blue. Okay, it's good. And we want the atmospheric fog to affect the sunlight luminance, of course. Right? And if you press play, you'll see, and you can't notice this, it's a very subtle effect. Maybe I'll turn it up for you guys to see. Fog multiplier, let's make it 2. Density multiplier, let's make it 2. Just to show you guys what this looks like. As you can see, this is faded, purplish effect around the entire map. Usually people use fog to kind of hide things at a distance. If you have a lot of geometry that you don't want to render at distance, you can have a fog. It just makes your landscape look a little better. In real life, especially in things like the morning, there is a little bit of fog that prevents you from seeing some distance away. I'm just going to press escape. I'm going to show you the other type of fog called an exponential height fog. So I'm just going to drag this in. So this is a different kind of fog. This affects lights more than anything. I'm just going to increase the density to show you what this looks like. And I'm going to convert this into something called a volumetric fog. Right? So I'm just going to take this on, maybe increase the scattering to show you what it looks like. And as you can see, there's this weird little fog in the room that kind of makes it more mysterious. Right? So I'm going to leave it to you guys to figure out the difference between exponential height fog and atmospheric fog. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. But I want to encourage you guys to read and understand the depth of things and use the Unreal Engine documentation. So I'm quickly going to show you how that happens. I'm going to press the escape key, go to my browser, and we've done this a little bit with Webflow, so I'm just going to show you what it looks like. Just look for volumetric fog versus exponential height fog. Right? This is how you Google stuff. Right? And there are many things. I'm just going to open some of these. Right? So you can see the first 3 links, for example. And this will give you a good idea of what, and Unreal Engine documentation is fantastic. And the reason I want to get you guys used to the Unreal Engine documentation is because this, especially, I've printed the entire documentation. So I have like this big, thing lying on my table with just all of the documentation of Unreal Engine in case I ever get confused. But Unreal's done a good job, right? So you can see what exponential height fog looks like when it's enabled and when it's disabled. So as you can see, there's a nice little effect. And then it also tells you what some of these settings do. If there's a second fog, the height offset. So I really like the documentation and the engine. And you can see that there's a single fog layer and here's a double fog layer. You can see this, this stuff here. So get used to using the documentation, get used to using Google. So in this page, I want you to see the difference between volumetric scattering intensity. Like I told you, when you use an exponential height fog and you convert it into a volumetric fog, we've already done that. So you see this, there's a volumetric fog, I've ticked it on. See what it does to the lights. There's a light here, there's a light here, and this is with no scattering intensity. But look what happens when I introduce some scattering intensity, right? Which is the default. So you can actually reduce or increase the way lights work with exponential height fog. That's exponential height fogs primarily work with light. But I wanted you guys to go to this page, run through some of the examples so that you kind of understand what this really is about, and you can see before and after samples instead of me sitting and creating 10 levels and then showing you all the different settings. All right, guys. So that's it. Catch you in the next episode where we will work with post-process.